All right, my friends, I thought it'd be interesting to see what the how much of a portfolio we would need if our replacement rate was 60%. And in this time, we're going to be single. So 60% and single, how much of a portfolio do we need to retire? And we're going to do the same exact thing. The median household income, $5,000, the same amount of FICA, the same amount of 401k contributions, probably a little bit more in taxes here just because we're single, but we'll use it. Doesn't matter because we're not, the net doesn't matter in this case. We're saying at the end of the day, we only need 60% of our pre-retirement income to live on. All right. So all that matters is our median income, because we go over here to the average index monthly earnings, and that gives us $5,000. And again, for those of you who didn't see the first part of this video, the median household income in the U.S. right now is $60,000 a year. That means 50% of the people make above it, 50% of the people of households, I should say, make below it. All right. So that does not mean you made $60,000 a year in 1993. That means you made the equivalent of $60,000 a year in 1993. Maybe that's $32,000. I don't know off the top of my head, but when they factor in your average index is the critical word there, monthly earnings, they are indexing your previous earnings years of 1992, 2004, and whatnot. They're indexing them with their inflator that they use. And that inflator is determined on your earliest year of eligibility, i.e. the year in which you turn 62. So if you turn 62 this year, your inflator is the exact same thing for everybody else who turns 62 this year. If you turn 62 5 years from now, your inflator will be different than people who turn 62 this year, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind. Your average index monthly earnings is the indexed earnings, not your earnings from 1993, which is $13,000. They index it with inflation. So if you made the median income over your top 35 years, your average index monthly earnings is $5,000 in 2019. We take the first bend at 926. It gives us $833 of income from Social Security at our PIA, at our full retirement age at 67. We take the second bend of 4,074, times that by 0.32, which is 1,303. Add those two numbers together, and our PIA, our primary insurance amount, is $2,137. If we were taking our in our PIA is the amount we get at our full retirement age. In this case, is 67 years old, we're assuming. If you took an early benefit at 62, it would be reduced by 30%, which would give you a benefit of $1,495 a month. If you took it delayed until you're 70, it would be increased by 32%, which would give you a delayed record of $2,649 a month. All right, but we're just taking a PIA here. We're saying sorry about the sniffles. I just got back from a jog and it's cold out there. Anyway, so we need $3,000 a month of income, from which we're going to wait until we're 67 and take Social Security at our full retirement age. We're going to get $2,137 a month from Social Security, which means we have a monthly deficit of $863 a month, which means we have a annualized deficit of $10,355 a year. We divide that by 0.05 because I believe a 5% withdrawal rate is absolutely adequate. That means we need $207,000 in which to retire if we're going to take a replacement rate of 60%. If we get 6% rate of return on that $207,000, our portfolio will last until we are, I just had it right there. Looks, what year is that? 5. So I made this bigger so y'all can see it more. It's right there. That's 31, year 25. So it'll last until we're 92 if we get 6% rate of return. If we got 4% rate of return, that portfolio will last until we are that's 27. What year is that? That's for 21 years. So it'll last until we're 88. All right. So between 88 and 92, depending on the rate of return we get on that portfolio before it is exhausted. All right, so if you live to your 95, you will run out of money unless you get a higher than a 6% rate of return. Now, let's go back to reducing your consumption by 1% a year, again, after inflation. So we're still inflating at 3%. Social Security cost of living is still only 2.6, and we're going to reduce your consumption by 1% a year. In this case, we're going to go to $3,000. Bear with me just a second. We still need $207,000 in the first year. If we got a 5% rate of return, our portfolio would last until we are last forever. All right, so we last for 45 years. So if we only need $207,000 because we have a deficit annualized of $10,000 a year, and we got $207,000 in our portfolio, and we were able to get 5% a year, we'd never run out of money in that regard. Now, what if our portfolio only got 4% rate of return? It would last until we are right there, and that would be until we're 39 plus 67, whatever that is. Is that 106 years old? Yeah, 106 years old. So if you live to 106, you will have run out of money. And then, if, of course, we have a 6% rate of return, you'll do even better. So in that case, with a 1% annual reduction in your consumption, again, we're inflating it still. So we're still $3,000 is what we need every month. We're going to inflate that at 3%. And then we're going to reduce it by 1%. So the next year we need $3,059 a month. And next year we need $3,119 a month. So the amount of money we need is still growing, but it's being reduced by actually how much we're spending because we're spending less as we get older, we're consuming less. So in that case, we don't run out of money unless we only get a 4% rate of return. In that case, a 4% rate of return, we still have money until we're 106 years old or something like that. All right, let's just say that's a little bit too drastic, which I don't think it will be. Let's just say it is. And we actually consume an increased consumption each and every year with inflation until 10 years, and then it drops by 5%. So we're going from 4,000, we need to change that to 3,000. We're going to 3,000 a month the first month, running to 3,090 the second year, 3,183 the third year. Each and every year is increasing with inflation until we hit year 10, and then it drops by 5%. So by the time year 9 comes around, our 3,000 a month has grown to 3,800. But then we're reducing it by 5%, so it drops to 3,719 because it's still being inflated because the cost of goods are going up. How much of a portfolio do we need in this regard? Well, it's still going to be $207,000 simply because that's the amount we need to start at the beginning of our retirement. But the question is, how long will it last? So let's go to a 6% rate of return. This portfolio will last until we are 32 years old, 60 until we're 99 years old. So if you got 6% rate of return and you had a reduction in expenditures by 5% every 10 years, your money would last you till you're 99. If you got a 4% rate of return and you had a reduction in expenditures every 10 years by 5%, your portfolio will last you until you are right there. That's what, 130. Bear with me just a second. That's 90 years old. So between 90 and 99, if your expenditures reduced, your consumption reduced by 5% every 10 years, your $207,000 will last you an ample amount of time for sure. But Josh, you got to factor in taxes. All right, well, let's take a look now. So we're taking, in this case, we're single. So we need $10,000 a year from our portfolio, and we're getting $24,000 a year from our Social Security. All right, so let's do it. Let's figure this out from a tax perspective. We don't get two standard deductions. We only get one at $13,000. Was it $13,750 or something like that? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's $13,500, I think is what it is. Well, if you're single, it's $14,000. We'll just say $14,000. I can't remember. It doesn't matter in this case because it won't be taxed anyway. All right. So in this case, we have $24,000 of Social Security, and we times that by all. We add to that. We divide that by 2 to get our provisional income. And remember, provisional income simply determines how much of our Social Security benefit would be taxable. So $24,000 is our Social Security benefit. We divide that by 2, which is $12,000. We add that to all of our other income. In this case, it's $10,000 a year from our portfolio, which gives us a provisional income of $22,000. And if you're single, the first $25,000 is tax-free. In this case, it is completely tax-free. We pay no taxes on our Social Security. Then we just take our portfolio income and we reduce that by the standard deduction, which I guess is $14,000. In this case, we have no taxable income. So we pay no tax. So let me just, for you guys watching on this, I'll show you what I'm talking about. 34 is 50%. Oops. Is 0.5, but we don't have anything at provisional income above $22,000, so we don't have any Social Security benefit is subject to taxation whatsoever. 34 plus 0.85. All right, so we got nothing. All right, so we have none of our Social Security benefits taxable. The only thing that would be possibly be taxable would be our $10,000 from our portfolio distribution. But we have a standard deduction of 14,000 or something like that. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. It literally does not matter. And what we do is we equal this minus that, and so we have a negative taxable income of $4,000. So we owe nothing. So in this case, we're doing just fine. If your retirement income replacement ratio is 60%, you're going to do just fine. If you have $207,000, you're going to be doing fine. No other way around it. You have no tax. You owe nothing on FICA, no more 401k contributions, no more Fed tax, no more state tax, no more commuting, no more getting your clothes clean, no more gas consumption, no more lunches, no more this, no more that, no more the other. You're going to be doing just fine if you have $200,000. All right, hope this helps. As always, put comments in the show notes.